I hope you're all doing great, and Bad God is here to show you guys some very exciting matches today. This is a video about the weekly tournament I played something like a month ago, which had very specific rules. These rules were: first, you cannot attack with your troops. So for example, if I play a Chaos Fury, I just can't swing with it, so most of the troops become completely useless. The second rule was no tactic that deal direct damage to your opponent. For example, I cannot play Seek and Destroy because this is a targeted tactic that will deal damage to my opponent. To my opponent's board. However, what I can play is tactics like Planetary Trap or Volcanic Instability. These were allowed. There were other very specific rules, such as, for example, you can play Planetary Purge on your own troops first. You cannot target the enemy board with it. And there are many bans. For example, I remember that Night Houses were banned, Viral Bomb were banned, and there were other specific cards and Legion were banned. I think Defenses of Caliban were also banned because of the Jaegers that were just a threat very hard to answer. So, when I decided to play this tournament, I obviously had a choice. I had many different ideas on how to exploit best the restrictions that were forced into the matches. So I had a couple of different ideas. My own ideas were at first Dynat, but then Alfarius, this Callback deck, and then Rubio. I also played an Amanda Arkandel, but I gotta give credit to GMAT for that. This is not his list, but I wouldn't have thought of playing her actually if GMAT did not give me the idea to. Probably someone else in MC rather than GMAT before him, I don't know exactly. Anyway, so in this format we gotta recount that Sabotage is MVP because all the troops that we are going to use, we're going to use them for their active ability most of the time. So for example, Seeker Cadre has the ability to deal 2 damage for 1 point of energy, so it doesn't have to attack to actually do something. Then we gotta note that the Warlord can attack, so it was nice to have a Warlord that could buff his attack. The Druid is also very nice. And then everything kinda follows. Zulane doesn't have to attack to be useful. Sabotage renders any useful troop completely useless because a giant troop is only good to attack, and now they're good to nothing now. Sabalitica Cortex is a very clever idea. I think it was, I don't remember who had it first, doesn't really matter, but the idea is that attacks by itself at the start of a turn is allowed. Berserk was not allowed. If you play a troop with Berserk, you instantly have to concede the game, but this was allowed. So the idea is to play it on a Charon Acquisitor and then just have a 10-11 swinging each and every turn. This completely negates the entire board, and it's also, now the opponent doesn't have board space anymore. Yeah, that was the idea of this deck. The other deck was this Alfarius deck, and now Traps were banned too. We were not allowed to play traps, we were not allowed to play infiltration. So the idea with this deck was that it was going to take a very long time for games to finish, and I thought that most people will have a lot of draws in their deck because most decks will have very specific win conditions, and so people will want to accelerate toward those win conditions. So this was the idea of this deck. I'm not allowed to play traps, however I am allowed to generate them with my Alpha Legionary. So my idea was very simply to be an Alpha Legionary until I generate Seeds of Betrayal. And once I have them generated, I have one such card in my hand, I can go with Untitled Bronzy and just play it repeatedly. So at best, with my counter attack, I can play Bronzy for 2, the first trap for 0, and then 4 of the traps. So that's 15 cards drawn. So that's a huge acceleration towards fatigue. I also had double escape vent. This way I can protect Rhodzi. It is kind of hard actually in this format to get rid of stealth Bronzy. Also Athame, either to protect me or to bounce Bronzy back and just play it over again the turn after. Omega Order was very nice because you can't swing with the troop that is ordered, so can't get rid of it. And the next troop is going to take 5 points of damage. And yeah, I could also play the Delta Order, but I just found out it wasn't that useful. It's a good card, but it's not that useful. Hydra Set is good to accelerate toward all of this. Dargati Sergeant is excellent. We are going to generate a lot of Secret Order that we're going to play on our opponent's troops. Everyone's gonna be running Zulane most likely, so it's gonna be very nice. Legion Glaive, just because of the enemy tactics costing 4 more next turn, it completely clogs the opponent's turn, so it was very nice. Pear Spear was not allowed. Of course, it's one of the tactics that deal damage only to your opponent. Lambda Thunderhawk wasn't allowed too, the instrument wasn't allowed. I could have grown those guys, some people have. It's a nice idea. Harrowing, of course, is forbidden too. Okay, so this was the second deck I thought about using. I could only use 3 of them, but I'm gonna show you the 4 list anyway because these are very nice ideas. Okay, now next was this Korbacks deck, and I think I was the only one. Yeah, I was the only one playing Korbacks with. There was like something like 8 players in the tournament, maybe a bit more. But anyway, I'll show you guys 2 rounds. Okay, so this Korbacks deck, actually, if you take a look at Runestorm cards, I can't use most of the cards because Fell River has Berserk, so I can't use it. All of these cards, if they don't attack, they're pretty much useless. Maybe not this one, but still not very useful. Mutations aren't that great when you actually can't attack. I know mutation that do something like at the start of the turn deal 1 point of damage or whatsoever. So mutation were a bad idea. All of the Cornish demons were useless demons too. So the demon that was the most useful, I think, was the Ula, because I don't have to attack with it to do something. Deal 4 damage from 1 point of energy is very nice. And if I kill the target, I get a copy in my hand, which can be excellent in certain matchups. Killing the very useful enemy troops and then playing them right back. 1 seal pack, because I don't want. I mean, if my Ula die, if my opponent somehow can get rid of them, then I'm glad I can have 2 back. Boxbringer just for the healing, because there were like decks that were actually very aggressive in the format, surprisingly enough. And then finally my last win conditions were the Fate's Death. And yeah, the Fate's Death. They're taking Melgator, but I'm kinda expecting Melgator to go on my Boxbringer earlier on. So these are nice too. Deal 4 damage from 1 point of energy. I need some more firepower. And the rest is pretty much nothing. Priests to accelerate toward the Ulas, to Chulcha Engine to make sure I draw them. Wonders of Tiska to go along the Planetary Trap, one of the rare damage tactic we were allowed to play. War Master's Deceit, very nice removal, and if the card is useful for them, it's probably useful for me. Boxbringers, nice healing. Tide of Madness to copy Ulas. Ecatres, just some more healing. Also Korbacks and heal them. And the very nice thing about Korbacks is that it can easily get rid of anything, whereas most of the warlords rely only on phase bashing to kill opponent's troops. So that was very nice. Okay, so that was the third list, and the 4th one was this one. So the idea is that since we were allowed to attack with the warlord, I just thought that I'd use Tylos Rubio and an Orders from Terra, a copy of Orders from Terra, just to be able to have still a very decent lethal range. So of course the usual sabotage, and then I decided to run the Reveal Arvida combo because it's something that was decent, very decent on ladder, and it's almost as good in this format. So I also ran the Drilling Site, Relic, Tissue, Ravage City. Ravage City is MVP in this format just because there are going to be so many active abilities. So I had to run two of these. And yeah, the problem about the Corvax deck is that because of the restrictions to neutrals, I could not play Ravage City, nor Melktor, nor Zulane, but I still like the idea anyway. So classified assignments, just because seals that you generate, you are allowed to play them. No matter what, even Seals of Sisterhood or the Throne, the one that deals 7 or the one that deals 3 to all of your opponent's board. Administration's Archives, very nice to generate since deck and since troops can swing. Maybe it's gonna take 3 strings for the enemy warlord to get rid of it, or maybe it's just gonna pump a lot of seals into my deck very early on. Executing Force is excellent, I think, in this format. Won't explain why, you can guess easily why. 1 bit of healing, some more active abilities, one of the best cards, and it's just as good as in ladder. Magic, of course. This, in order to draw this for a little bit of healing, and I really like this idea. Okay, so I'm not going to show you all of the games because that will be way too long. So I'm just going to show you the 2 last rounds. So the semi-finals, which I won because I went to the finals, and then the finals, and that you can't guess whether I won it or not. So without further ado, let's jump into the first round. Okay, so here's the hand I had, and my opponent was Destroyer. I think he's a really regular player of weekly tournaments. I don't play that many of them, but I think he's a regular player of them. Anyway, I kick 1 Lictitious Vitatus. I like having 1 because it's always good, but 2 is maybe a bit too much, especially against Alpha Legion. And I can always generate a Psionic Fury in my hand on the first turn. So there he morphs into Alpharius very early. I'm gonna move forward a bit. I draw the traps he just played. So that's good news. I like drawing it this early. I prefer it now rather than later on. Okay, so now I just decided to kick Mshen from my hand. Why so? This might be a surprise. I was thinking that actually there wouldn't be anything good for me to copy in the Alpharius deck. I will be proven wrong, but that was my thought process. And also all of my other cards are very good too, so I actually kinda don't want to get rid of them. But like Mshen, I just couldn't see like what I'm going to copy into. Maybe Zulane actually would be the best thing. Jabak is just gonna be a lot of things in my hand. The Sleeper Operative is excellent, not ideal, so the least. Yeah. Okay, so now he goes for this very interesting Sabotage plus Possess combo, which it should be strong on the paper. Because now my thing can't attack, it can't do anything, it can just deal 2 points of damage. So either it's going to deal 2 points of damage to my assassin and then to 1 troop each and every turn, either I lose 3 spots for my board and I can only play on the left. So that would have been terrible too. I decided to ping on the left just because it's still 9 points of damage. It's still very good. And now the switch is, he has 2 very good troops. So I see covered support, Sleeper Operative, and Perimeter Footstep. Could have targeted the Sleeper Operative, I guess, but I was fine with the Footstep too. I'm not that scared of the Sleeper Operative for some reason, or maybe I'm just scared of the Footstep Pyramid. I was thinking that this game should go my way, and maybe he plays a Footstep Pyramid that generates something crazy good, like a Conqueror or something. I would be very sad, so I think it was kind of a safe option here. Okay, so I just ping. I play my Mshen just because I have it. Burden from duty. Just gonna let you guys read the card in case you didn't know it. Choose a free troop that died and put it in your hand, costs 2 less. Very good for example, if Melktor dies somehow. Yeah, I'm being very lucky that he drew it and played it. That's very nice. That's a complete high roll, I gotta highlight it. Also, I had Endcast in my hand, so I could have drawn with it or with that. I'm not very sure why I didn't. Anyway, so now, if you count correctly, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tactics to play, so that's perfect. And I can of course play them all. I will even have some spare energy to either activate my troops or play Zulane, or maybe a bit of the two. So now I can give recognition, my sustain. The only use to it is basically dealing 1 point of damage to everyone. The swing here doesn't really matter. So I decided to kick bottom duty because orders from Terra might come in handy to lethal him next turn. And actually I don't have any spare energy, I don't know what I was talking about. So I just do that and I swing. And I can't swing with my troops. If I do that, I'm disqualified. I'm not disqualified, but I have to give up on the match. Or maybe I can ask for just a rematch. Robert's been the tournament organizer, and he was very good at it, very flexible. So, from this point, the game is almost over. He did stun my entire board, but like that does something, but this isn't the proper answer to the Rifle Arbiter. So now I absolutely don't need to play the Secret of the Throne here. Why is that so? It's simply because he can't attack with this. He's not allowed to. So now that he doesn't think, 3 damage to my face and stun my entire board, it's pretty much a dead card on the board. And I'm just gonna take a spot. But I mean, like, it doesn't really matter actually. He does have plenty of wall space left. So here, for example, a sleeper party would have been dramatic, I think. It would have been very bad news, because I couldn't get rid of it. I can't even kill it with the Secret of the Throne, because it will heal it, actually. Okay, so now I generated Death and Protocol with my Zulane, decided to go for a card. It's not that useful, and see. Yeah, for example, this Ancient, 2 useless cards on the Zulane, so wasn't all ideal, to say the least. So I was kind of happy with that decision to kick it before from my opening hand with the relic. So now he has a sabotage for this, and this is a very good answer. Sabotage it's actually the best answer to almost any troop, save for the Ulas, of course. And I was expecting a run to play sabotage, so I was like, okay, if I have a stealth win condition, it can be very, very good. But I just go for another Secret of the Throne into the deck, and I'm lucky enough to draw it. And now I think I have lethal. That's 7, 14, 18, plus 2 tactics, that means 3 damage from the regular Vida, so that's 21 damage. Boom, boom, and boom. Face bash. And I win this first one. That's good. Okay, so now let's jump into the second game. The format is a conquest, so I cannot play Talas Rubio again. I have to play someone else. But he can play Alfarius again if he wants to. So that's the second game. I decided to go for my Korbaks because I'm really confident in my Korbaks. I was actually really confident in my first decks, Korbaks and Talas Rubio, and I wasn't really confident in my Amandara Candle. I did use it in the first round against number 1, but it wasn't that convincing. For example, I forgot that Author Silence got nerfed and it only gave +2 attack now instead of 3. So the deck wasn't that as strong as I thought it would be. Okay, so now I have this hand, and yeah. Plays a trap, and he decides to move in the first turn. And I'm not entirely sure whether that's what you want to do against the Korbaks, for example. I am slow enough that any trap you put into my deck has a high chance of being drawn, actually. Now I could go for the Chuchula in Giant turn 1, but I have a nice idea for my next turn. You'll see what I'm talking about. I go for a face bash here just because I wanted to take advantage of my healing with my relentless abilities, but that was probably a mistake. I have time, so I don't need to. So I see Eula, I finally able to draw it, and I use the active ability of my Rock Rift to put another head one onto the board. So by doing that, I made sure I had a demon and a Warp Rift full health at turn 2. I can do that. I mean, it's just the same. I mean, if I go for my Titula, if I go for my sorry, what it's called, if I go for Shoutouts turn 1 and then warp with turn 2. But the good thing is it's completely denies him from doing something else with his warlord, like drawing me cards or putting traps or I don't know. So, and the warp rift are not gonna be that useful later on anyway. So that was pretty good. Okay, so now our couple of death turns. My Ula cost 7, so that's really good because all of my big win conditions they cost 8, Fate Days and the other Ula. So I'm really happy about it. Now this isn't a big threat, I can just poison it and add the strength of Korbaks in this format. Because this is a pain for almost any warlord. For Korbaks it's that easy. I even can play Silent Death. I could take the 4 here, doesn't really matter. I decide not to and just deal the 4 points of damage. Okay, he plays the Sleeper Operative. He gets War Master Seeds, which is good, but that's not an answer to Ula anyway, so it's not that good. It will be an answer to Phase Death, so I can't really play Phase Death. So here we see a very interesting combo for him. I kinda thought about it, playing something like that too. I had considered playing something really of a Legion. I mean, with something very similar to what he played, and Exodus was actually kinda popular. Number 1 and Chimat who also were in the tournament played it, but it didn't move that far, I think, if I remember correctly. So yeah, see here we see the strength of these double secret orders. My thing has 2 points of health now, so now it's weak to the Scorpius. And I realized that this would have actually been a good troop to copy with my M. Shen, the previous game. So I have to answer it because I don't think I can easily get rid of a 2 health Ula if he doesn't have this. So I'm kinda happy just playing that. And also I know he has a War Master sitting in hand, so he's gonna be able to either kill the use it in Phase Death or the Scorpius. So I play the Agent because I don't have anything better to do, and the Phase Death. Another good idea would have been to play the Scorpius and then to poison this. It's not a useful troop on its own, but it takes... I mean, I can't poison it later when I actually want to poison something better. So that could have been a thing, it could have been a nice idea. And for example, now I can't try to poison it because I will hit the Sleeper Operative, which I don't want to. So now I can go for the trap and Scorpius. And the trap is very nice because he can't answer it. Remember that there are no troops that deal direct damage. I mean tactics, sorry, that deal direct damage, targeted damage. So the trap it's a pain for him to answer. He can't swing into it with the troops too. So that's very painful. It's gonna kill one of his troops most likely. Or if it doesn't die to the trap, it will die to the Ula. He decides to jam the Orphan Scorpius, which I can completely understand. I don't know whether a choice was better than the other. 2 points of damage every turn it's a pain, even though it will end up killing that. This deals less damage than the 7/7. Now he plays more traps, and I think that's a really good idea. That's how he can come back from this. I am low on cards. I mean, my deck is running low, so it's likely that any trap that he play, I draw them at some point. Okay, so here he plays his first Armageddon, and I can just win with everything. And maybe play a Boxbringer, maybe even the other trap. No, you shouldn't play 2 traps at the same time because I think they're both gonna suicide on the same troop. So yeah. Okay, so here he copies the 3/5 and uses it to get rid of my trap. Clever idea for him. And okay, Zulane. Zulane is not something I want to let live. Well, just because it can generate against something that completely turns up the game, a Conqueror for example. I mean, even a Conqueror wouldn't do much, but better not risk it anyway. So yeah, the list I showed you was before the list I used in the finals. In semi-finals I actually had 2 seal packs and I can't remember exactly what cards I had only 1 copy of. But I just found out that in all of my games Seal Pact just wasn't useful because my opponent simply couldn't get rid of the first wave of rulers, so I was thinking, okay, 1 Seal Pack just in case, but 2 is probably a bit too much. So now he's at 27, and we see the weakness of my deck. I decided to go for the Secret Order, just because it might be something scary to him, I don't know exactly, or just because it's a card that won't take space in my hands, so I'm happy with that. I decided to go for Phase Bashes, and I think it's a bad idea, because I'm low enough on health, and I don't have that much firepower to close up the game really soon, so it can be very painful to Phase Bash him in. Goes for another Zulane, created by Alpha Detonator. I can't remember, or maybe he did use his ability here, I can't recall. So here he just has some more troops, and now we see Hydro Dominator to destroy the random 32. If he hits left, I'm sad. The 3-5 was the average one. There are 2 very good targets, 2 very bad ones, and this was the average one. Now I go for the Wall of Fear. Why is that so? It's because Ekatrez can heal it up for 9, and the Sleeper of Achieve won't deal 9 points of damage this game. It will be over before that. So yeah, here I read correctly the Secret Order. So I use my Priest that he is useless card at this point to simply get rid of that order. So next time I can play a full health Fate Death. Go for some more healing. It's kind of desperate at this point because I can still deal 8 points of damage each and every turn. He wasn't able to generate any threat that I need to answer. That was the second Omegon, and he still has one ward in his hand, I believe. So now I just decide to heal me and to Phase Bash, and that's a bad idea. I should just heal and take my time, because now I'm not entirely sure of when actually I will be able to deal the final points of damage. And see, that's what's happening. False Flag comes in, and False Flag is very bad. Because also it means he copied it in his hand, so he can play another one. So all of my board is going to be stunned, and I still have at least 1 False Flag into my deck. I think I have a couple of more. Okay, I do the Tides of Madness. This is cool. I could play this turn, but my idea is that I have enough firepower. 12 a turn is enough. It takes 2 turns for me to kill him. And there he draws into another. I draw into another False Flag. So that was bad too. Fracture in Time. I thought I still like the idea of that card. Yeah, you can play it on 7 if my opponent took some time to develop a big hefty board. But yeah. So did he play it? Yeah, he played it right back. And I'm not entirely sure of how good that was. I think if I were him, I would have waited a turn and actually played the turn after and make me draw a card. Because now, either I draw all of my False Flags and my deck is very low on cards and it's likely that he can actually copy another one. Or either I don't draw them and then I have lots of False Flags sitting into my deck. So, in any case, he's good to go. So, I'm not entirely sure, but I kind of think he can have my board stand each and every turn if he plays it correctly, and I can actually never kill him. The only way I can win is, for example, if I can somehow survive long enough for him to hit Fatigue too, but that's very much likely not gonna happen. So yeah, so for example I have an empty deck and he plays False Flag, copies it, I'm forced to draw into it, and then he can play his False Flag, copy it, I think it works. He didn't see the line, it's a bit like chess. He didn't see the line, went for that instead, and that's gonna cost him the game. It's not, and don't get me wrong, I'm very thankful that he actually allowed me to play the game. I would have been pissed to lose like that. It's so Alpha Legion. You can play every turn. You can never play. You never get to play. Yes, no, you can. I cannot remember, but I could have won the third game if I had done this. If he had done this, sorry. So no remorse, no regret whatsoever. GG to him. That was a very fun game. It happened quite a long time ago, but if you ever happen to see that video, these were very fun matches. Okay, so moving on to the finals. My opponent, can't remember his name. We're gonna see it in a second. Okay, so this is the finals. And my opponent has this very strong Agapito Neth. It's a very scary deck. Out of the sentence, Ravengard can just build up onto a board. It is scary. It is very scary. So, okay, so I had this very good opening hand. I kept my regular Arvida just because I need it later on to clean the board. I need to do something crazy good with regular Arvida and play 4 tactics. 2 Draining Sight and 2 other things very early on to get rid of his ball and get rid decent out of survival. I could have fished for the Draining Sight with my Council Informant, would have been an interesting choice too. I kind of prefer the Electrocution without because I don't only need Draining Sights, I need many other cards. So yeah, I ended up drawing it alongside the Classified Assignment, which can also give me a very hefty Seal of Sisterhood. That's just an instant win in the matchup. So very good draws for me. I decided to play Master Steel, and here I'm lucky. He doesn't do much. Like he still does 3 points of damage, draw a card. That's not too bad, but it doesn't deal up much. Now you can just answer my Assassin like that. Gonna play Sabotage here, make this guy useless, and kind of sad because I would have been happy to mitigate some of the damage he builds up onto my world, but that's life. Plays his counter attack, not because he wants to, but because his hand is full, so he has to. Just a quick look. I think it's his ranking now. He made it to the final, so he was a very scary opponent by definition. I got a Seal of Sisterhood, sorry, the Sisterhood in my deck. That's very nice. And now with that's exactly what I was talking about. Now this is scary as hell. But fortunately for me, I do have this Verbal Avita on this other Draining Sight, so I can actually answer that before he gets very nasty. And it looks like I don't want to do it right away. And the reason for that being is I have 2 Ravage Cities in my deck, so I can actually make this guy almost useless for a couple of turns. And that's good. I don't do anything else because I want to keep as many tactics and troops for as many tactics for my Arvida. Not gonna play Psychic Fury, my hand isn't full anyways. I already did something with my world, so yep. I used the other Ravage City, better delay what I can. I get bad seals, so I'm just putting this next troop or tactic cost 0 into deck, might be useful, who never know. Another Seal of Sisterhood, that's very good. So first I put the seal, then I draw the card. Always gonna do it like that. And then with my remaining energy, I just give myself a shield. His hand was full. So with the shield and the fact that his 2 thing costs 2 more, it's not very scary. Plus also I'm still at 32, I mean that's very good. And now that he played that and I can't delay his board anymore, I gotta do this. But just think about it, it's very scary. Give me 3 points of Sentenced and then swinging with everything, another replace glitch. Okay, no. Nice. And I can just play 2 other tactics. I should have gone for the Psionic Fury first. I have to sabotage, most of his troops are going to be stealthed, so just get rid of it. Now we see 2 things. First, why it's so clever to play Ravengard in this format. Everyone's gonna use sabotage and rely on their sabotage to answer painful troops, but Ravengard, just like Ulas, are stealth, so they don't care about that. And I have this thing that is still unanswered. I have my Seal of Sisterhood in case I need it. I have my Orders from Terra to just lethal him just with my Water Connection. So there is truly nothing he can do here. Seal of 30, but this isn't dead yet. More seals coming in. So I'm just gonna show it that I can kill him one-handedly. And Orders from Terra. Not gonna play the seal. If you can avoid killing your opponent with a seal, do it. It's so frustrating losing to a seal. Be nice to people. Okay, so I'm one game close to winning this tournament. Let's see how that goes. And we see a Perturabo. Okay, so these games happened before the nerf, so we're gonna see 5 points of damage from Perturabo, but it's actually 6 in the game. I checked the replays, none of them were glitched, so hopefully this will go good. So I was kind of surprised about the Perturabo thing, because Viral Bomb was banned. But I can completely understand the idea. It's you want to use that to actually kill painful troops. Like Witch Seeker, for example, the 5-hour, if that can sacrifice friendly troops to deal 6 points of damage. Or maybe the Assassin, so that he doesn't have to face bash into it. The Constant Informant is also very nice. Superior Firepower might work wonders against Chaos Zulane and Black Starsights and anything. And also Perturabo, all of the siege troops, they walk, because the walk, why is that so? It's because, well, I can swing into them with my troops, so it's highly likely that they actually have the time to siege up and then to unload all of their ammunitions. We see this Sanitary Squad, a very nice idea. I can't swing into anything, so, I can't swing from a warlord, so they are likely to survive. Mortars, for example, were also a card that has seen a lot of plays in the tournament. I personally didn't like it that much because it costs 6 and it gets answered by Melgator and Sabotage. And also it's a bit random. There are so many useless troops that it can somehow hit a giant troop, for example, you never know, so wasn't that happy about it. So here he plays his Sabotage here, kinda glad he does. That means he doesn't have superior firepower, and he keeps on going face. So yeah, plays his second thing, and that's the idea. For example, if he hits there, then it's 2 points of damage that I completely lose because I'm not going to ever do anything with that. Only good news is this won't serve as food for the Viral Bomb because Viral Bomb is bad. Okay, so now I go for my Priest, and that's perhaps one turn too early to do that, but it fits nice to the curve. And also next turn I have a decent Tides of Madness here and Warp Rift. He pings there, and that's slightly unlucky because if you read this card, we see deals 3 damage to random enemy troop. If it dies, repeats its effect. So I was happy I got the Higgle here, so it does. So if he hits there, it breaks the chain. So because of that, I can't really play my Warp Rift. And now he swings there and hopes that this hits either there or there. It's there, that's good. It's there, that's good for him. And now here, no more choice. This is a useless card. Yeah, it didn't do its job of a big tank. Now it will. It forces. Makes him play the 5th support squad. So that's gonna be something I can directly answer. Okay, so the bad news are I can't play my Ula now because my priest died. So I'm just gonna go with the Warp Rift and hope for the best. Now I'm kinda shaky. He plays something very scary, such as that. I have a couple decent options. I guess my options are either I can poison it and play my Ula along the way, or I can just play War Master's Deceit. And I think I'm going to go for War Master's Deceit because this costs 6 now, but it will cost less later on. So I will actually be able to do more things. Just for example, if I poison and play this now, and then he plays 2 troops, then I'm forced to lose an entire turn just getting rid of it. I don't know thanks to what miracle, he didn't have anything to play now, but I'm happy he didn't have anything to play. Now that I think about it, if he had played Erasmus Golg here, I would have actually been in trouble. I would have been forced to just play Silent Death and double poisoned the 2-3 and the gold. So that would have actually been another turn lost, but my Ula would have gone down, his price would have gone to 2, so it would have been all too bad nonetheless. So now that my battery is on, doesn't matter that they are unstealthed, they can still shoot. So this thing is actually at 1 health. We gotta keep that in mind. I could have removed my 2 Warp Rifts to play my Exploit Bringer. If he had Viral Bomb in his deck, I would have done it for sure. But I'm like, meh, this is gonna cost 0 next turn anyway. And having 12 energy at some point in the game could be useful. For example, playing Sealed Pact alongside a Ward ability. Who knows? So now we see the Boxbringer, and Silent Death comes into play. I get poison 2 of them, and I can't swing in his face because he has Ward. And that's another very clever idea for him, but Korvax just completely counters that. He gets very unlucky in his matchups. So yeah. I mean, Korvax also is nice against Ravengard. Korvax is nice against everything in this tournament. I was hesitating between bringing him or maybe another Branthan deck. It was very bulky, very city, and very I wait and get rid of everything until I can play Paratrade on you. I kinda like both ideas, but this Korvax deck did wonders in this tournament. So really glad I brought him along the way. Yeah. From that point, it's gonna be game over. These guys have been sitting there for ages. You just can't get rid of them. Priest dies, doesn't matter. Play supply line, and I'm not entirely sure what vehicles you can have in this deck. This is an Astartes, this is not a Dreadnought. Terminators. This is Terminators. So yep. Just gonna play another Phase Death, I think. Maybe on the Boxbringer, who knows. Even if you can somehow get rid of that, I have the Sealed Pact. Oh yeah, I guess I didn't want to play the Boxbringer just because I don't want 2 Boxbringers to actually come back on my Sealed Pact. He plays Lord of Iron, and that's very funny, because the only way he can do that is he actually plays against Korvax, because it's pretty much the only way for him to kill troops on his turn. A troop that dies by poisons counts as dying on his turn, so if you're playing against Perturabo, that doesn't really matter most of the time, because Perturabo don't rely on Lord of Iron to kill you. I mean, that wasn't for the nerf. And Gulliman, it's good against Gulliman because it doesn't count as for his own reckoning. Okay. And for now, I killed the Iron Cycle so that this dude hits 3 times to his face, and I just kill him like that. So that was very brutal tournaments. I don't think I lost a single game. There was some dramas in the first round because I played the ban cards and Juan did something forbidden against me, so we agreed on a rematch. But apart from that, it went very smoothly, and I was able to secure a win in finals. I would have actually very much liked to give my rewards to someone else, because I think that will be something very good for EG to do, allowing players to compete under the banner of new players, just to have them building hefty collections. That is not something you decided to do. I do respect the decisions. I can see many reasons why. It's a bit sad. I find it personally a bit sad, but again, who am I? I'm just a player. It's their own game to do whatever they want. So that was it for this tournament. I hope you guys enjoy this format. I do believe I will in the future play more weeklies and maybe post videos, not 2 months after I actually play them, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, I will surely upload more of these later on. See you and have a good one.